Heather Smith, Wanderlust Travel by Heather Smith. Coming at you, I've decided to do some videos. So, what we're going to be talking about is how great it is to have a travel advisor, what we do, what we're for, what our process is, all the things. So, today I'm going to start out with a little group trip quote that I'm going to put together, and I'm going to let you guys just kind of see what my process is, see what I'm thinking, see what goes into me being an advisor for you, because you don't know what you don't know. So we're going to figure it out today. So what I have is I have a group. This could be anywhere between like 4 to 8 rooms, I think, of 2 people. So we're going to be like minimum 8 to up to 12. It's mostly couples, but I think we might have a single or 2. So I think for this particular group, sandals is not going to be an option, which watch my videos. We'll talk all about sandals. But for this one, I think we have to rule out. And also they've requested Punta Cana. So also not a sandals destination, but we have a lot of resorts in Punta Cana to choose from. So through the magic of the television, here we are. I'm going to show you how I go, how I start, and just what we're looking for here. So when I get a group request like this, first I'm going to ask some questions. This particular group I have worked with in the past already, so I know kind of what their vibe is. I know what they're looking for. We are leaving from Milwaukee here. Dates are flexible, so for this I've just kind of chosen a random week here in January. So people ask me all the time, how do you choose what days? What days are the best days to go? Honestly, it just depends. This is a Saturday, leaving and arriving on a Saturday. Out of our area, the flights generally tend to be a little bit cheaper on Saturdays. So that's usually where I start. Now, mind you, once I go into planning a trip, and if the dates are flexible and price is your main factor, I'm going to check all of the flex dates for you to make sure that we get the best price. But when we start out initially, it doesn't matter too much. You're not going to fluctuate a ton just between a night or 2 either way when we're just starting to get where we're going here. So, and the main point, first of all, is just to figure out the kind of property that they're looking for. I like to narrow down the property first, and then all of the other options come later. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So again, we're going to go from Milwaukee here to the Dominican Republic, Punta Cana, PUJ. I love my airport codes. I speak in them all the time. So if you hear me use that, PUJ equals Punta Cana. Okay, so this is going to be 2 adults. And I always click the little add travel protection button here because you don't need it until you do. And when you do, you're glad you have it and you never go without it again. So I'm always going to recommend this to you. I will have plenty of info on this later for you. But for now, here we go. So this is a main tool I like to use here. This, I book a lot of things through Travel Impressions. So I am Wanderlust Travel by Heather Smith. I am an independent seller of dreams. I sell your travel dreams to you. Obviously, I have to book them through somewhere. So I have relationships with these suppliers who allow me access to their systems, because why can't you make a reservation yourself? You don't have access to that hotel system to put your name in there, right? So long story short, I'll have more content on that later too. Stay tuned. But so this is we're using Travel Impressions here. Usually I will check multiple different suppliers as part of my process as well. But so Punta Cana, here we are. This particular group is going to be all adults, and they would prefer an adults only property. So the nice part that I can do right away is I can filter everything adults only here, because at first glance, I'm not going to recommend them a property when I know that they would definitely prefer adults only and there are no children. So Punta Cana has so many options. Even like if you are a family, there are 85 different options here that have availability during this time for that period. Tons of choices, right? And like I said before, you don't know what you don't know. So usually in a place like this, I'm going to start with places that I know, places that I have been, places that my clients have been, and I have a bird's eye view of these properties. I am always going to start out with things like that. And that's not to say that every one of my clients is always going to go somewhere where I have been or somewhere that I know firsthand about. But that is what I am always going to recommend to you first, because I do know, and then I know that I can send you to a place that is safe and it's reliable and that you're able to get there and that things will be fantastic. So that's kind of my step one. So when I am glancing at the list here, we're going to flip back onto our adults only, which narrows it down to 22 different properties that we have available in our search right here. So right off the bat, and they have them right next to each other here for me. These are generally my two go-tos in Punta Cana for adults only properties. And the two are very different. They are both very good. And this one I could see really going either way for this group. So this is a really great example on why you need somebody like me to help you make these decisions. So Breathless Punta Cana and Secrets Royal Beach are my top two choices generally for Punta Cana. These are both adults only properties, we can see. So Secrets Royal Beach is more of like a relaxing, a little more romantic. This is where you go to relax. You go to hang out, you go to the spa, you hang out by the beach. The beach there is amazing. It's a very large beach, walkable up and down. It's amazing. But it is a little more laid back. So Breathless Punta Cana is the more lively choice. So this is great for adults who want to get out, they want to party, they want to have a good time. There are DJs by the pool. There's late night entertainment. There's a nightclub. There's dancing. There's all types of things. That one is a little more like go all the time. So Secrets Royal Beach, you're going to have more activities like water aerobics. You're going to have maybe like a little, I don't know, competition with a ring toss maybe or something by the pool. Things like that, maybe a little bit of volleyball, but things are going to be kind of relaxing. There's not going to be a lot of lively music around the resort and things like that. So, like I said, two very different, but also both very good. So let's just pop open Breathless here. So if I had to take a guess, it's probably going to be Breathless as the choice for this trip to be a little bit more lively for most of our friends who will be on this one. But it really could go either way. They'd have a fantastic time at either place. So when I first open these, I like to just kind of go through, obviously look at the photos if I've never seen this before. I have toured Breathless Punta Cana, so I have seen some of these. Some of the rooms obviously have been updated. It has been a little while since I've been there, about 2 years. Before the end of the year this year, I think I can make it back. So I'm hoping to tour this one again in the next few months shortly. If not before the end of this year, definitely early next year I will be back to see these again. So as you can see, very nice. Breathless, a lot of these rooms are updated. They do have a section that hasn't been updated in a little while, but luckily I know how to avoid that section as well because room types matter, you guys. So at any and all of these resorts, we're always going to have options to get a different room type. Everybody wants that swim out, right? You maybe want a butler. We want preferred club sometimes. All types of things like that. There's always options, and that will come more into play later. We're still in the initial stages with this trip where we're just trying to figure out where we're trying to go and trying to get a location locked down, and then we'll work individually with everybody to see what their room type preference is. But again, Breathless is an excellent choice, and this one we can see starting for 2 people with whatever flights they've chosen right off the bat. I usually go in and change those around a little bit. This is usually like a basic economy flight that we don't want. Also, I think that, this one is a non-refundable rate. So let's pop in here actually and just take a look. I do not like to book non-refundable rates because that really means it is non-refundable for any reason whatsoever. Even if you have travel protect, it doesn't matter. We don't like to book those. So what we do is, here we have the Allure Junior Suite King. This is the non-refundable rate, okay? we add $148.96, which is basically an insurance policy on protecting your entire trip. So this is necessary. We need to have this. I do not like to book the non-refundables for you, but this is important to point out because a lot of times I will have people who say, okay, well, I see the same room type online on some other website for $148 cheaper. Sure, it's probably a non-refundable rate. So we'll talk about that again more later, but non-refundables are generally not good. You guys, I have literally had people have to cancel trips at the last second for the craziest reasons. Car accidents on the way to the airport, you guys. It exists. It is real. You do not want a non-refundable rate just in case. So for this purpose, we would add $150 for the entire 2 people for the entire 7 days to get the refundable rate on the exact same room. And as we can see here, there's going to be a lot more room types available. Like I said, we'll talk more about that later, but always, always, always options. Anyway, so Breathless Punta Cana though, so realistically, we're probably looking at about $3,700 to $3,800 if once we ditch these. I'm sure they're basic economy flights. So things like that, I think we're probably looking at about $3,600, $3,700, somewhere in there, starting here, which for 7 nights in January, not too shabby. So, okay, now let's pop open Secrets Royal Beach, which I think also, like I said, is a great choice. So this is the more chill. This is the more relaxing. You're going to do a lot of laying around here. Not that you wouldn't do a lot of laying around at Breathless too, but this one is a little more elegant. The rooms are a little bit nicer here. The rooms are a little bit larger. There are a lot more rooms at Secrets Royal Beach that face the ocean than there are at Breathless. Just because the beach, how it's shaped, it's much longer at Secrets Royal Beach. And so a lot more of the rooms face that way just in general. You have a lot of garden facing rooms at Breathless. So here we can see, ooh, that's a nice, with a little tub out there and a swim out. That's a nice room upgrade. Okay, so again, this would also be a great choice. We're going to have all kinds of, and this is just this rate that we're seeing here is not non-refundable. You actually pay more to get a non-refundable rate here, which is great news for you guys. So this one really is probably about the same as soon as we're all said and done. Usually Secrets Royal Beach runs a little bit higher price than Breathless. And you know, that would be the case here once we hit up these flights. See, yeah, these are all basic economy up here, so we would change these around. That's going to change the price a little bit too. So let's see if we just jump into here. So usually at this point, I like to recommend a few different properties at first, with the exception of these particular circumstances where I know the people in this group and I am pretty sure that one of the 2 of these is going to be the choice. And also they're the 2 that I like the most. So if they come back to me and they say, nope, we don't like either one of these, then back to the drawing board. Also, this is not the only destination I'm going to recommend for this group either, even though they've told me that they want Punta Cana. I do have some other ideas in mind too, so stay tuned for some other quote videos on some other destinations that you might not even know about, because guys, a lot of the time people come to me and they say, we want to go to Punta Cana, and I'm going to tell you straight up, a lot of them end up in Curacao, because I personally love Curacao. It is amazing. I'm going to quote it a little bit for this group. Anyway, so that's part of my what I do. I find the best destinations because you guys don't even know they exist. So, ooh, these flights are not very good. Okay, here we go. Here we're down into much better flights. So if you noticed too, as I was scrolling kind of fast, but these initial flights that we first had for this low price over here includes a 9-hour and 20-minute layover with a next day arrival. yeah, so this is not a flight that I would recommend to people off the bat either. So I would change this up. And unfortunately, that usually adds a little bit of money. But look, this one's got an even longer layover, 23 hours here, 19 hours, 25 minutes. So we have to scroll a little bit for this one. But here we are. Here's one with a 2-hour layover. $432 extra total. So, I mean, this is also main cabin instead of basic economy like the first one was too. So, usually I'm going to go ahead and choose that one. I like to just make sure, yeah, 35-minute layover is a little tight. I don't think we want to do that, but the price is the same. But hour 55 is definitely better here. So, if we choose this, then we're going to see what options we have on the return because the departures dictate the returns. So let's see what we have open. Then we'll get an accurate price on this for 2 for this room. Okay, so now we have our departure. Okay, so this is sometimes it's an hour and 15 layover on the return in Charlotte, which when you enter back into the United States, you're going to have to go through customs here. You've come from Punta Cana. So if you have a checked bag, you're going to have to get it. You're going to have to recheck it. Sometimes the line gets long. If you don't have global entry, I don't like to book a 1 hour, 15-minute layover on entry into the United States, especially not in the winter time. Because if you're delayed at all or any of the other flights are delayed, sometimes it gets a little hairy. So let's see what else. Or 35. Okay, so probably in this instance, I have a choice between an hour 15, an hour 35, and 3 hours 35. The price of the hour 35 and the 3:35 is exactly the same. So I'm going to choose the 3-hour and 35-minute layover. Just in case something happens, we would much rather have you be sitting there than sitting there all night if you miss something. So, now it went. So now that we've chosen our flights, now we can go back. And like I said, I think this one is going to be Breathless. So let's see what happens if we choose our Breathless with our non-refundable. And see what kind of price we can have for 2 on this January 10th from Milwaukee. Okay, let's just keep the Allure Junior Suite King, but we get rid of that non-refundable guy. And grand total, this is going to be for 2 people with the flights from Milwaukee. There's some additions that you get here, spa discounts, things like that. And that includes our travel protection, all that good stuff. We're at $46.21.55 for a week in January. Not bad for 2. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to compare this to the Secrets Royal Beach. I'll put these together in a nice little price quote and I will send them to them along with, like I said, probably Curacao. Maybe another destination too. Not really sure. I don't like to overwhelm people with too many options right out the bat. But I have a lot of knowledge, you guys. It's all in here. All you have to do is ask. So give me a call, send me a message, let me know where you want to go, and I am happy to help. So for now, thanks for watching my quoting on Secrets Royal Beach and Breathless Punta Cana. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks again. Wanderlust Travel by Heather Smith. Bye.